Hi, my name is Xiren, and welcome to Know How Things Work, the series where we look with curious eyes at how the world around us actually works. Today I'm going to be talking about juicing. This is a topic I get asked more questions about than just about any other. There seems to be confusion as to what it is. So today we're going to cover what is juicing. We're going to cover why is it important, the health benefits of it, of course, different juicers, like what's the difference between this, doing it with a Ninja blender and doing it with a $3,000 Norwalk press. We'll be talking about store-bought versus homemade juice, as well as recipes, and then lastly I'm going to play a clip from 1946 that was on an ABC News broadcast. So what is juicing? Juicing is the answer to the question, how do I get the lowest caloric content out of a food and get the highest nutritional impact, right? That's my question all the time, is how can I eat foods that have the lowest caloric overhead and the highest impact as far as benefits to my body? Juicing epitomizes this. Juicing is awesome for this. So we've heard a lot of scientific studies coming out showing that today's food is heavily depleted, that we're not growing it with the same amount of nutrients and minerals that it would take to produce the kind of quality food that we used to get about 100 years ago or so. And therefore, we're putting this depleted food in our body and we're needing more of it to actually get the benefits that we used to get with much smaller quantities. So juicing is the answer in a lot of ways, because you can take 20 pounds of fruits and vegetables, which would be completely impossible to digest that much in a day, that much fiber, but we can digest it in juice form. So we can take all those and turn them into juice. We can take large quantities and then drink them right down as juice and get all of the benefits of it, and of course have none of the mass of it. Also, most of our diets are deficient in vitamin and vegetable content anyway, right? So we know, as our mom said, eat your vegetables, yet here we are eating all this other stuff. So it's a great way to supplement vitamins and minerals in a way that synthesized vitamins and minerals just aren't giving the same quality. They don't, when we take a synthesized vitamin or mineral, it doesn't always absorb. We know that a lot of these things, they make it right through our digestive tract without actually going into our system. There are just problems with it that aren't inherent in food-based vitamin and mineral content. So it's an amazing way of getting your vitamins and minerals and getting them in a high level, right? So that's what juicing is essentially. The question I get asked a lot is, if I blend all my food together, is that juicing? And the answer, of course, is no. That is a smoothie. So if you put all your food together and blend it, you've definitely helped a little bit of your digestive process, but again, you're getting all of the vegetable. You might as well just be eating it. So you're essentially saving some of the top part of your digestive process by mulching the food down, but otherwise, no. So what we're talking about is what are the different types of juice, or what are the different types of juicers, more importantly. So there are attachments you can get for a lot of blenders that are juicing attachments that separate the fiber from the actual juice, which has all of the nutritional content in it, or primarily the nutritional content in it. So what we're doing is we're separating those. So you can take and get an attachment for the Vitamix, for some of these other blenders and things that you can get rather inexpensively. And it, by the way, gets you in the game of juicing without a lot of initial cost. The next level, of course, are the dedicated centrifugal juicers. They tend to still not be all that expensive, although there is a variety of range. If you go to your local Whole Foods, you go to any place that sort of has a juice bar, they'll have a dedicated centrifugal juicer. Then for the diehards, right? Then there's the hardcore juicers, which are all about the juice press, right? So maybe you see juice on the store wall that you can get that is called pressed juice or cold pressed juice. And what it is, it's a two-part process. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. These tend to be a lot more expensive, and I'll get into the benefits later, but essentially they're a two-part process. And what they do on one side is they mulch all of the vegetable content, all the fruits and vegetables that you put in there, into baby food looking material. They break all the cells open into cheesecloth bags, which then go onto the second side of the press and actually get pressed where all the juice comes out. You remember the old apple cider, if you've ever gone to like a cider mill and you see how they smush it all together. That's essentially the second side. All of the juice comes out, and here's where the benefit is that it's a little more cleanup, it's a little more expensive, but you are absolutely getting a huge amount of juice. So you're getting closer to 75-80% of the vitamin, mineral, enzyme content of the food out of the press process versus somewhere between 25-30% of the juice coming out on the centrifugal blenders. Also, the other problem is there's some scientific argument that in the centrifugal process there's some static discharge that happens in the violence of the spinning part of the centrifuge that kills off a lot of the things that we need and that are alive, which is another big part of juice. So the difference between home juicing and store-bought juicing is humongous. So what we're talking about here is that we want to put living food into our body, right? We don't have a lot of alive food in our diets, a lot of raw food. And again, that's another reason why you want to juice, is this is infusing a living food into our body. If it's on the shelf, it's not alive. It probably took days, if not longer, to get to the store, and who knows how many days or longer it's been sitting on the shelf. Essentially, juice tends to be alive only for a short period of time. So the faster you can drink it, the better. There's some debate. It seems to be about maybe 2 to 3 days that juice will stay alive if it's refrigerated and done well. And depends on the juice. Carrot apple juice seems to last longer, for instance, than juicing a lot of green things together. So that's kind of the basics of the juicers. Now, what I would say, there are benefits to the centrifugal juicing process. For one, they tend to be easier to clean up. Number two, they tend to be enormously more inexpensive. These are very practical. It's a great way to start. If you wanted to get into the juicing game, go buy a $60 juicer or whatever, $100 juicer from Costco. Put an attachment on your Vitamix, something to get you in the game. I'm a fan of reach people where they're at. If this is something for you, no need to necessarily jump over the moon and throw down for the big press Cadillac of juicers. Go get something that gets you in the game. So the last thing I want to talk about here is recipes. Now, my two favorite juices, and really the sky is the limit. There are an infinite amount of juices that you can do. I've got a couple little books here that I've gotten. This one I think actually was ordered through Norwalk, which makes the Cadillac of juice presses. And then this is the small sort of handheld version of the Gerson Therapy juicing book. Both of them have lots and lots of recipes in them. The only really hard and fast rule is that there's not a lot of fruits that mix with vegetables very well and stay for very long. They tend to turn each other. So green apples being the exception. So the number one juice that I love, this is a great place to start for anybody, is carrot and apple. Now assume that when I'm talking about fruits or vegetables for these juices, they are organic. There's a humongous difference between a organic grown apple and your regular store-bought, pesticide-filled, or somehow genetically modified fruit or vegetable. We have now what's called a systemic pesticide, for instance, that's being grown where the seed itself is marinated in a chemical petroleum-based pesticide with the intent that it grows poison leaves that keep all of the critters from eating these plants. And of course, we're somehow supposed to forget that fact, and when we're eating them, believe that these are not going to have qualities that are harmful for us or toxic for us. So the difference, especially when we're taking large quantities of these into our body, is tremendous. So I am talking about organic foods here. Huge difference, especially if you're not well and you're trying to use this to really kickstart recovery. It's a very important aspect of this. So the second juice I like a lot is a green juice. And the green juice can have, again, the apple, the green apple, Granny Smith, as well as lettuce like romaine or some other kind. Endive, maybe that's a new vegetable for you. You can go look it up. Cabbage, whether it's green or purple, doesn't matter. Swiss chard, also known as green chard, and lastly, a little bit of green pepper. Now this makes for a really good juice. The apple sweetens it up and makes it very digestible, very tasty juice. Now these are two really good juice introductions, and again, the sky is the limit with this stuff. These two juices, the reason I've pointed them out is they are sort of the central force of the juicing component of the Gerson Therapy. I'd like to wrap this episode by playing a clip from an ABC News broadcast in 1946, where famed World War II correspondent Raymond Swing broadcasted on ABC News at 7 p.m. on the East Coast about Senate testimony that he'd witnessed given by a Dr. Max Gerson and 5 witnesses who had been healed using mostly a dietary and juicing regimen. In upcoming episodes, I'll go more into details on the Gerson Therapy itself. But for now, I find it fascinating that we have 1946 Senate testimony as to the validity of diet and juicing as a potent cure for cancer.
Since our bodies are intricate chemical laboratories, it sounds thoroughly orthodox to approach illness as a problem of supplying the body the proper chemical ingredients in the proper proportions. But that is not the way cancer has been approached. Now, the approach down this avenue might permit one of the great strides forward in medicine. I've spoken about this carefully and abstractly, which is to lose some of the shock and delight of the experience yesterday at the hearing of the Pepper Subcommittee. It is one thing to talk abstractly about chemistry and diet and vitamins and other factors in medical science. It's another to see, as the committee saw yesterday, a 17-year-old girl who had had a tumor at the base of the brain, which was inoperable and which had paralyzed her. Yesterday, she walked unassisted to the witness chair and told clearly about her case and her treatment. There was a sturdy man who'd been a sergeant in the army, had had a malignant tumor, also at the base of the brain, which had been operated but needed deep X-ray treatment, and this he couldn't receive because of the danger to the brain. Yesterday, he was the picture of health, as he testified, and quite naturally, he was proud of his remarkable recovery. There was a woman who'd had a cancer of the breast, which had spread. Yesterday, she was well and testified with poise and confidence. A few cases showing such improvement cannot of themselves affect the outlook of the medical profession, but they are attested facts and not flukes. And as such, they have to be accounted for. And there are many, many more cases which could have been cited. It would seem to be the business of medical research to leap on such facts and carry every hopeful indication to a final conservative conclusion.